वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमार्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं गुरुब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुदेवो महेश्वर गुरुसाक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे I welcome everyone who are available present in the temple, Jai Durga temple here, as well as those people who are online. Today is the 15th of July, Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, and we are going forward with our study on Shrimad Bhagwat Gita. My apologies for not attending, not giving the discourses last Saturday because of some commitments I have got with my family. So we could not have a session last Saturday, but we will continue with our study today onwards. So we were thinking about Shrimad Bhagwat Gita, and we have repeatedly also reminded ourselves why we are studying Shrimad Bhagwat Gita and with what viewpoint we are studying it. We are not only taking it as a pious book, but we are also trying to understand the meaning of it and apply it in today's life for everyone, right from a very young children to the golden age people. So we'll go further on this, and we are on the second chapter, Sankhya Yoga Nama. Sankhya Yoga. The name of the second chapter is Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya Yoga Nama Dvitiyo Adhyaya. And in the Sankhya Yoga, we are going with the 48th sloka. We are looking at 48th slok. We looked at it a bit in the first two stanzas. We were looking at it, and then we are going to look at the further stanza of 48th slok. So I'll do the chanting of the sloka first, and then we will go further to understand. Yogastha kuru karmani sangatyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhayo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Here we talked about a bit about the sanga tyaktva and yogastha kuru karmani. It looks like that coming out of sanga tyaktva means coming out of the bonding attachment is to get the buddhi yoga. So the meaning of this sloka is that be steadfast in the performance of your duty and abandoning the attachment to success and failure. Siddhya siddhyo. Siddhya means siddha asiddha, one which is successful or failed. Samo bhutva, equal. So we will get into equanimity, and this equanimity is samatvam yoga uchyate. Uchyate means it is defined, is called. So samatvam yoga uchyate. When we were looking into it, that there are sanga tyakta, and this sanga tyaktva is a very extremely misunderstood word. This word has been misunderstood in multiple ways, and it has led into incorrect actions for hundreds of years. One of the common meaning of word sangha means to come in contact, to come in connection. So if I am in the friendship of I am with the friendship with my colleagues and all, then, and if they are not good, then the mother will say, iska sang chhod do, leave the the connection with them. That is the lowest level understanding of sangha. Means you do not connect with them. Sang chhod dena. Sanga tyaktva means somebody thought that sanga tyakta means sang chhod dene se yogastha ho jate hain. We will become yogastha. So what will happen? Because of this whole psychology of one way of thinking of only one meaning of the sangha, what happened is that people started leaving the things. So it led into a incorrect understanding that as much as you leave the stuff, the worldly stuff, as much as we leave the worldly stuff, we are going to be a more pious person. Sangha tyaktva. We will be more pious person, we are more prone towards the yogastha, and so that is why we leave the Sangha. That is what is explained by many people. But we know that in practicality, we cannot leave the things. We cannot leave our job, we cannot leave earning money, earning bread and butter, we cannot leave our family. So when the God, and then it is telling that leave the attachment. Sangha means attachment. So if we leave the attachment, then how can we live with the people? How can we do our job? So Sangha doesn't mean only the physical connection with something. Rather, the meaning of the Sangha as a physical connection is very minimal. The meaning of the Sangha is more psychological than physical. Let us take an example. Suppose we are eating some good food. I always give this example. Suppose we are eating some good food and it's a nice dish, we are hungry, we are eating, and then suddenly we get some sad news or we get some exciting news, either of that. And then we finish our eating. And when we finish our eating, when we are asked how was the taste of the food, we do not know. We do not remember. Why we do not remember? It is told that do not eat in front of the television. Do not eat while you are watching a TV. Why? Because the effect of the food will not be there. So even though there is a Sangha, there is a physical connection between our organ, our senses, and the object. The effect of Sangha doesn't happen. Effect of Sangha doesn't happen. Why it doesn't happen? Because our mind is not with the object. That is the reason why it is told that the Sangha didn't happen. So, a second level of understanding of Sangha beyond only the physical connection is that we are interacting with it, with our mind and with our intellect. We are interacting with it, we are getting connected with it, and then we are having the experiences, good or bad, sad or happy. Those experiences are created because of the Sangha. So if we leave the psychological connection with the object, or for that matter anything, then that is called as a Sangha tyaktva. It is not only or as a physical connection. And we know that. Suppose we are dreaming of the future. We are dreaming of future happiness and we are thinking about it. In that case, like people say that do not drive and talk on the phone. Do not drive and text. Why? Because the physical connection, the physical connection between a person and an object may not be there, but psychologically you are already connected and engaged with the object. That is why even for the future happiness, which is not even experienced, if we are connected, then we are still called as we are in Sangha, getting in contact in dreams. Because that is also giving us the same feeling, same attachment, even though it is not a physical attachment. Let us take a small story of what is attachment. So there was a group of sadhus. There was a group of sadhus which was traveling from one village to the other village. And while they were traveling, there were young sadhus, there were older sadhus, gurus and all those people. Together they were traveling. When they reached a river which was flowing between two villages, they found that river was flooding very heavily. There was a good amount of flow over there, and it is little dangerous to pass through it. These people were already experienced how to pass through the gushing river, so they were not worried about it. But there was a young girl, she was around 16, 18-year-old girl, and she also wanted to cross the river. So what happened is that one of the sadhu asked the girl, what do you want to do, why you are looking worried? So the girl told that, oh, I am worried because I have to cross this river, I have to go to the other side, but river is gushing with water and I am scared of it. So the sadhu told, don't worry, I will lift you on my back. Now, as a general understanding, a sadhu is not supposed to be having the so-called sangha, the sangha of a woman. A common understanding, which is also a misunderstanding, but it's a common understanding. So he lifted the girl, and all the other sadhus told that, oh my God, what is he doing? He is doing wrong thing. He is not supposed to have a stri sparsha, the touch of a woman. Now here in the sadhu also, the woman is not physical. It is also physical but also mental, because woman is everyone. Money is also a woman. Lakshmi, Ma Lakshmi is a woman. So sadhu is not supposed to touch it. But this sadhu, he was a young sadhu, he lifted the girl on the shoulder and he crossed the river. When he crossed the river, and then he put the girl on the ground and they walked further. Now all the other sadhus saw that. Nobody spoke to each other, nobody spoke about this incident. After around 6 months, there was some kind of discussion came up, and another sadhu asked this guy that you are talking all this and all these big things, but the other day you lifted the girl on your shoulder. That is not correct. Why did you do it? So this young sadhu who lifted the girl, he told the other sadhu that, you know what, I lifted the girl and I put her back on the river bank on that day. But in your mind, you are still lifting that girl in your mind till now and even in future. So in this example, even though there was a physical contact of the young sadhu with the girl, there was no sangha. Whereas the other sadhu, who didn't even touch that girl, kept thinking about that for 6 months. And that is sangha. So the definition of sangha is more connected to the intellect and thinking and psychology rather than the physical contact. So that is what is sangha. So we have to understand what the sangha means. Because here God is telling sangha tyaktva means what? We have to abandon every physical object in life and go to a forest. We should not be wearing any clothes and just eat flowers and fruits coming out of the trees. That is not what God wants to say here. It wants to say that you disconnect, you remove the attachment from the objects, and tyaktva, that is another word. So experiences from others is also considered as own experience. So a sangha may not happen with us only. A sangha happening with someone else can also become a sangha with us. So we have to remember, a sangha happening in physical contact, a sangha happening in psychological contact, a sangha happening for the future happiness, a sangha happening with the other people experiences. All this together are becoming the impact or effect as a sangha. So how the sangha can be disconnected? How can we get detached from the sangha? Tyaktva. Tyakta means you have to throw away. You do not leave. There is a difference between leaving and throwing away. If you just abandon, you leave, that is one part, and tyakta means you throw away. When does a person throw away? In our life, even in common life, our common experiences, that we throw away the thing when we think about it. The things which we do not think about, we don't throw away. Simple things like garbage. When we do the garbaging, when we throw away the thing, we look at it first. Then we look at it and we decide in our mind that this is not useful, it should be recycled or it should be disposed of. And then we throw it away. So garbage is thrown away. In this example, it is very clear that for tyaktva means to throw away or to abandon something willfully, we first need to understand it intellectually. Unless we put our intellect into it, we cannot leave it. Just by the bhavana, but just by the feeling, the mere emotions, we cannot leave anything. Because when the emotions subside, when the emotions comes down, we again get engaged. We have got that experience in family. Kids, when the kids or even elder people, we have some arguments, we have got some kind of a a difference of opinion with the family members. We don't talk to them for 2-3 days, but then we again talk to them and again it become a together family. Why? We were living in the same house for 3 days and we didn't talk to each other, but still we are there. Why? Because in our mind we didn't leave the Sangha. It is important to understand that a Sangha can even also happen with a enmity. Even if for the enemies, if you are thinking about the enemy continuously, you are with the Sangha of the enemy. That is why it is told that your mind should be very clear when you do the meditation. And meditation is the one of the method where we learn slowly how to do the tyaktva, how to leave the things. So, feeling and also, a indirect sangha, like when we see that a celebrity is using a soap, when we see the advertisement that a celebrity is telling that I am using this soap. So when we buy that soap and when we use that soap for taking bath, people feel that I am also like celebrating. So the Sangha may not even conclude as a result to ourselves and still it can become a Sangha. So Sangha is more like an attachment, it is more like a non-physical object or non-physical thing which is in our mind, and that is to be tyaktva. So here we were talking about tyaktva means to willfully keeping away, intellectually abstain from the results. That is what is tyaktva, God is telling us. So from our discussion of the Sangha, we understood, so a tyaga or tyaktva may not result in physical distance. That is number one part. Tyaga or tyaktva means intellectual detachment. It is intellectually we are detaching with something and not physically maintaining a distance or physically abstaining something. Now, one very important part of tyaktva is that the tyaktva should not result from helplessness or compulsion. When a tyaga becomes from the helplessness, it does not become removal from the Sangha. Let us take an example of it. Suppose somebody is smoking a cigar and he is told that you should not smoke anymore because it is not good for your health, you already spoiled your lungs and you don't smoke cigarette. So he leaves it. He says that, "Maine cigarette chhod di. I have left, I have abandoned." Generally they don't use the word tyag, but they say, "Maine cigarette ka tyag kar diya. I have left the cigarette." But when they are watching other people next to them smoking the cigarette, they will have the feeling of or craving to have a smoke. This is showing that even though a person is not leaving, even though a person has physically left a object or a sensual pleasure, the person is still craving for it because that tyaga has come from helplessness. The doctor has told that if you smoke, you will die within 1 year. So from the helplessness or compulsion, this situation has happened. And that is why abstaining from these things is not tyaga. The definition of tyaga, the definition of Sangha tyaktva is not supposed to be resulting from helplessness or compulsion. So, how to do the tyaga? Many schools of thoughts have given the path to do the tyaga. How to do the tyaga? If I am not supposed to abandon them, and if I like it so much, as a common people, we like the things so much. I like to eat good food, I like to wear good clothes, I like to, have a nice bungalow and car. So then how do I do tyaga? People will not leave it. Even physical contact or physical connection with the object, people will not like to leave. So how do, or in what way can we make people to do the Sangha tyaktva? So various schools of thoughts have taken various paths to do that. And these are the paths which are incorrect path as per the Shrimad Bhagwat Gita. But we should know what is the incorrect path also. So one of the path which is taken is you blame and claim the objects as bad things. When we decide that something, either it is a physical object or a non-touching sensual happiness, if they are blamed as a wrong thing to do, and if they are blamed as a bad thing to do, then people will be leaving it, or people will be keeping away from it. And to do that, the whole theory of Svarga and Naraka, the hell and heaven, has been established by many religions. They say that if you do this, it is bad, and so with the result of that bad thing, you will go to the hell. And on the other side, if you do something which is supposed to be done, then you will go to the heaven. So hell and heaven is nothing but considered or given as a reward of the actions which you are supposed to be doing as per the religious understanding of that religion. But what happens? In that case, what happens? Suppose if somebody is told that you do not do action X, because if you do the action X, when you die, you will go to the hell. Because that person is already having the happiness and joy and sensual happiness or a feeling of satisfaction through that action, if we tell them that you go away from this action, because if you want to be happy and you want to go to heaven, then you should abandon it. Can that person really abandon it? And even if they physically abandon it, even if they physically think that I should not be doing and I should be abstaining from it, but in their mind, there is always a charm. In their mind, there is always a greed for those things. They will be always having a feeling of not able to do that because of a compulsion. So, blaming or claiming the actions as bad actions and rewarding it or punishment of it through hell or heaven does not work or does not define in alignment with Sangha Tyaktva. Sangha Tyaktva doesn't mean that you leave it, because when you leave the object or that sensual happiness, you will get a reward somewhere else. So that getting a somewhere else reward is not supposed to be as a initiative, a cause, a objective of Sangha Tyaktva. So all those religions, all those schools of thoughts which say that it is bad and you will be rewarded or you will be punished, and so you do the Sangha Tyaktva. Because Sangha Tyaktva is told in other religions also. It looks very similar. But Sangha Tyaktva, because of compulsion or a future reward in heaven or hell, is not what is being explained over here. It is very clearly explained here. Sangha Tyaktva means you should abstain from the attachment because you want to attain samatvam, which we'll look at further. So one of that is one of the important part here is that blaming or claiming the things which are incorrect or bad is not the solution, is not the way towards the overall happiness of the society. And also the people who do not believe in that religion or people who are skeptical about that religion will never do the Sangha Tyaktva. So because they will not do the Sangha Tyaktva, obviously the result will not be achieved and they will never be able to do the Yogastha Kuru Karmani. They will not be able to do the Yogastha. So the purpose is not solved if we do the blame or claim something as a bad as a future reward. So that school of thought is incorrect and it is not in alignment with the Shrimad Bhagwat Gita. Then another, another way of rewarding is not up in the heaven or hell, but on the earth itself, and that is called as a holiness. So all those people who live or abstain those things, sangatyaktva, physically, underlining word is physically. When people see that these people have physically abstained from those things, they are considered as a holy people. They are respected. They are given more weightage. They are given more value. They are given more respect. So when we see that, and we see that all the time, that, oh, Phala Phala Babaji is not eating any grains, he is eating only fruits. Phala Phala Babaji, he takes only milk. He is a very tyagi. He is a big tyagi. He has abstained from such worldly pleasures because he is not doing this. He is a brahmachari. It is my salute to those people who are really living it, but by compulsion or by just to become a figure of holiness, if somebody is doing it, then it is not a correct way to do, because in their mind there is always a greed and attraction and attachment to those objects for those people who live it because of a compulsion of looking or being a holy person. And this is the root level. This is exactly the root level problem of having all the Dhongi Babas. We follow one sadhu or other Baba or other Mataji, somebody, and then after maybe 2, 3, 5 years, we suddenly know, oh, he was doing this, she was doing that. And then all our Shraddha Sthan is broken, is shattered. Why it is shattered? Because we think that leaving this thing is happiness. Physically leaving this is holiness. But that is not correct, because leaving something is not physical, but it is psychological. So Sangatyaktva is one of the intellectual, one of the school of thought that somebody is physically abstaining something is a holy person. So that school of thought decided to give more social weightage, social value, social respect to those people who abstain. But that path also doesn't work, because even though those people who abstain it for the higher status in the society, they are really not able to live it, and that is why then we find there are scams and everything happening. So giving a person a higher level statuses also doesn't work for the humans to attain the situation of a Sangatyakta. So these two school of thoughts, one is a blame and reward and punishment, and the second school of thought is giving a higher social status. Both those way or thinking does not help a person to attain Sangatyakta. Now here, the message here is to concentrate on action and keeping it corrected, steadfast. So yogastha. So here there are, it looks like an irony. See, on one side God is telling yogastha, means you continuously connect and be with it. On the other side, the God is telling Sangatyaktva, you leave it. So how does these two things come together? Yogastha kuru karmani. You continuously do your work, you continuously get engaged with your work. Yoga, get engaged, get connected. With the karmani, when you are doing karma, continuously get engaged, and then telling Sangatyaktva, you leave it. How does these two things, it looks like irony, it is looking as opposite things. So what does, so here we have to understand that how it is not opposite, but it is exactly the same thing. So there are different ways we connect in Sangha and Yoga. When we understand what is the difference of the mechanism of connecting in Yoga and the mechanism of connecting in Sangha. These are two different things. So let us understand it. In case of yoga, we join, but with no luring or attachment in the action. Whereas in the case of Sangha, we join with the thing with attachment and luring for the action and its fruits. That is one of the first difference. In case of yoga, we are connected, we are doing the same action, but we are not lured or attached to the action as well as the fruit. But in case of a Sangha, we are attached. That is number one part. Now, how does that happen? What micro mechanism makes it happen? Because in both cases, it looks exactly same. The micro mechanism is being a part or being a user. In case of a Sangha, let us think about the Sangha and Yoga. When somebody is telling Sangha, say for example, I take a gulab jamun and I put it in my mouth and I feel sweet. What has actually happened? That I feel that myself and gulab jamun are two different entities. That is number one part. Second part is the gulab jamun is sweet and it is going to give sweetness to my tongue. That means I and gulab jamun are two different things, and when the jamun is going to touch the tongue, it is going to give the sweetness. And this is what is creating a difficulty. Because I think that I am different and the other thing is different. There is object and subject. When we think that other thing is object, then there is a consumer and consumed. Upyog, we are the user and the other thing is being used. This is the psychology in the very root level when there is a Sangha. But when there is a yoga, we are connected with it. We are part of it. We are in it. So we cannot say that I enjoyed my hand. I enjoy touching my face. It does not happen because we are it. We are in it. So yoga means we are inside the same thing. We are part of it. We are not outside and connecting with it, but we are part of it. When we are part of it, then the whole fruit, the whole attachment part goes away. When we are part of something, then it is yoga. When we are a separate entity, then we are Sangha. Then there is another part which is coming up here, that because in the case of Sangha, when we consider the other thing as a other entity, then when that entity goes away from our senses or from our connection, psychological or physiological, then we feel we develop a feeling of emptiness or not possessing. So when we have the feeling of not possessing or not having the ownership, we have the feeling of sadness. But when we are part of it, then it never goes away. When something never goes away, we are always in happy state. So, siddhya siddhyo, any action, if we are connected with the action, we are as an action, then we do not worry about what is the outcome, because we are more about the action. And that is why the God is telling that when we do the yogastha, when we do the karma as a yoga, when we are part of it as a karma, then we are doing the sangha tyaktva, because our attachment goes away. And then when that attachment goes, siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva, our success or failure samo bhutva are equal. Equanimity will be attained, and in that equanimity, yoga uchyate. So the God has made a complete circle. When we do the work as a yogastha kuru karmani and sangha tyaktva, then we are detached from the fruit. And when we are detached from the fruit, samatvam, that equanimity is yoga. Is yoga. So God has explained here that what is yoga? Equanimity is yoga. Getting connected with the action. And it is not telling us to leave the actions. It is not telling us to leave the world. This is very important part here. So, when there is a yoga, we are merged with it. There is no gain or loss. And just like our body, each organ is doing its own action, we will be doing action as a part of the world procedures. So, there is no gain or loss because we are part of it. We are in it. We are not outside it and then enjoying it. This is the psychological status. So hence the psychological status in yoga brings samatvam and equanimity. In case of Sangh, it becomes a mental status for sadness or happiness because of the gain or loss. That is what God is trying to explain here. We'll go further to the next shloka, 49th shloka, where God is trying to explain it more in detail because this is a little complex. And then how to do it is a practical part which we will be also looking at. So I'll chant the 49th shloka now. Durena yavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddho sharanam vichcha krupana phalahetava. Yes. God is telling us, the meaning is here, durena yavaram karma, durena, discard, far from far away, yavaram karma. God is telling buddhi yoga is much better than the sakam karma, as we already saw in the previous shloka also, that when we are intellectually connecting with something and then doing the work, it is much better than sakam karma. Sakam karma means it is yavaram, avaram, is inferior. It is doing the sakam karma, doing the karma with intention of fruits and acting in the life is much worse, is much inferior than buddhi yoga. Means doing the work with the intellect. Why? Why it is so? As we already know that when we do the sakam karma, the results impact us. Results gives us happiness or sorrow. The results gives us a motivation or a depression. So doing the work with the buddhi yoga will be able to make us continuously work but still not being unhappy. So if we do like that, will we be happy? If we think that, oh, the fruit is not the object or the cause for my actions, is it telling that, is God telling us that we become non-sensitive? Is God telling us that we become careless about the fruit? What does the God tells? Is it that we should not be worrying at all about the fruit? And we talked about it around 2 or 3 sessions before, that the fruit is giving us the direction. What to do, what work to be done, fruit gives us the direction. Fruit gives us the actions to be done, what actions is required at what level and when. Fruit gives us the resources to be used. So, if we are not looking at fruit at all, then we cannot work. So, here God is telling buddhi yoga, samata, seek refuge in divine knowledge and insight. Discard the reward-seeking actions that are certainly inferior to works performed with intellect established in divine knowledge. Now this looks very heavy. So what is happening here is that God is telling that when we are continuously interested in the karma, just doing the karma itself is giving us the pleasure. Our pleasure or happiness is not connected with the outcome of the actions, but it is connected, it is joined, it is yoga with the karma itself. I like to do, whatever is the outcome, I like to do. and then I like to do to the best of my efficiency. Why will I use my best of my efficiency? Because I like to do it. If I do not like to do something, then even though there are best rewards given, I will not be continuously doing it for a longer period, and I will not be doing it with a happy mind. So that is why Buddhi Yoga is important. Sakam karma is not good. And so, where should the mind go? In the refuge of the intellect. We should be using our intellect to do the karma. So, let us understand one of the, again, a procedure of Sakam karma and the Buddhi Yoga karma. Both are karma. If we see from outside, everything will look exactly same. There is a funny story about it. What was happening is that one day Adi Shankaracharya, our Adi Shankaracharya was, who told about Aham Brahmasmi. He told the greatest knowledge. And one day the Adi Shankaracharya was walking along the streets of the city of Kashi. And he told that Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya. The whole world is Mithya and only Brahma is Satya. That is what he was telling. Now he was walking, and what happened that it was a small street, a narrow street, and there was a mad elephant who was running towards all these people where Shankaracharya was walking. So all the people started shouting, "Oh, an elephant is coming, elephant is running, elephant is coming, running," and all. So everybody should go into the safe place. So Shankaracharya also ran, and he went up into a building and he saved himself. Now there was a person who wanted to tease Adi Shankaracharya. So he asked him that when you say Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya, then in that case even Hathi is a Jagat, elephant is a Jagat, is a world. So when you ran, and the Hathi came, it was also a Mithya. Why did you run? So Shankaracharya told that just like the Hathi was Mithya, even my running was Mithya. So basically what it means is that we have to understand, it looks like that Shankaracharya also ran and other people also ran. The karma looks same, but it has got a different meaning inside it. So let us understand what is a Sakam karma. The karma which is with the attachment to the fruit. The mechanism of it is that the mind first do the aspiration. Ichha, man phal ki ichha karta hai. The mind is aspiring, the mind is wishing, mind is expecting the fruit. Then that aspiration, that wish, is told by the mind to the intellect. And then intellect, buddhi, what does intellect do? Karma ki yojana. The method, the procedure to attain that fruit. So the intellect works towards attaining that fruit. It makes the yojana, the whole mechanism, the whole management, the whole series of actions. All these are decided by the buddhi, by the intellect. When the mind is telling the intellect that I want this, when suppose I say that I am thirsty, so the mind tells that the intellect that the body is feeling thirsty, and then the body will decide that okay, the intellect will decide that okay, tell the body to go to the water fountain and drink the water. So number one is the mind is doing the ichha, the wish of the fruit, and then the intellect makes the karma ki yojana, the whole action, the how to attend it. And then once the action is done, there is a karma phal, there is a fruit coming out. Now depending on fruit is desirable or against what is expected, but when the fruit comes, the fruit is experienced by the mind, and the mind gives the command to the next action. And then this continues, this rolls around every moment, every second in our mind. But what happens in Buddhi Yoga? In Buddhi Yoga, number one is that because there is no phal, there is no fruit, there is no aspiration of fruit, the ichha doesn't happen. It is the person wants to do the action without ichcha, and then when that happens, the outcome of the action doesn't impact, the fruit doesn't impact the action or the person who is doing action. All our big sages, all our big saints, we hear them. Bhagwan ki ichha ke bagair to patta bhi nahi hilta. Yeah, without the wish of the God, even a leaf will not move from one to the other place. That is what everybody say, all the Sant says it. What does it mean? Does it mean then the Sant says that, okay, you just sit and do nothing and let God do it because you are completely helpless and incapable to do the things? No. We have seen all those saints working hard all through their life, taking all the pains. We haven't seen them. We have seen them working. So if they are telling that Bhagwan ki ichha ke bagair patta nahi hilta, without the wish of the God, even a leaf is not going to move, why do they work? Because they are buddhi yoga, because they are connected with I have to work and not with the fruit. That is what that is what is the difference between the karma phal, I mean the sakam and the yoga, with both are seen doing same thing, but they are two different items. And that is why God is telling that doing the sakam karma is very inferior. So then how do we differentiate between a mind and the intellect? How do we work? In what way we have to decide to work or do the actions so that intellect does the action and not the mind instigating the action? Here is the main solution of which is coming out of the meditation. When our intellect becomes stronger, even though the mind gives an order or a wish, the intellect will decide that this is supposed to be done or not supposed to be done. And when the intellect becomes stronger, the mind will not be able to make us run from here to there, because intellect is the final deciding factor here. So, in that case, how do I decide that it is, how does the mind become intellect? How does the intellect become stronger than the mind? We have to remember who I am. When we are telling that we get connected with the action and not with the fruit, the root of that understanding is that who I am. Who am I? When we understand by keeping in memory for who I am, what I am supposed to do and why, then our work is done, but our mind is not dragged into it. Let us take an example of it. Suppose, as we see, there are heroes and heroines who are doing actions. They are acting in the movies, they are acting in the play. So if you go to a set where they are shooting the scenes and all those things, you go over there, you see that the actor is, suppose there is an actor who is supposed to be a king in his role. So the actor starts giving a dialogue as a king, he is wearing the clothes as a king, he is doing the actions of a king, how a king is supposed to act and all. But when he finishes his scene, he is coming out of it, and he is a normal person, he is a regular man, man or woman, whoever they are. So when they are doing the action, suppose their action is incorrect, the director says, cut, let us do this again. I think you have to do this in a better way. The moment they say cut, that actor stops acting as a king and asks the director, okay, what is the best way to do? In other words, while working as a king, while acting as a king, they still know that I am not the king. To remember that I am not the king is the key. If they start thinking that I am the king, then they will not be able to listen to the director, because if the director says cut, they will say, oh, who are you? I am the king. You cannot tell me anything. So, In other words, while working as a king, they are continuously remembering that I am acting. I am doing the action. I am given the responsibility of doing the action in the best way. I am given the responsibility to do the action in the best way. I am supposed to put all my efficiencies in that way, in the best way, for making this scene as a greatest scene. So to do that, they will put their, what will happen? They will put their full efficiency. They will put their whole heart and effort to do that action. They will try to see that it is in alignment with what is required by the director and all other people. They will see that. But even while doing that, they remember that they are the actor, they are the human who is supposed to do that action. This is exactly what is to be extrapolated in our daily life. When we remember who am I the body? Just like when we looked at the earlier shlokas in Sankhya Yoga. Am I the body which I am in? Am I the possessions which I have? Like I am or the positions, like I am a director of a company, or I am a landlord of a big land. Who am I? This is the root of it. When we understand that I am not what I am possessing, or I am not what I am in position at, I am an entirely different thing. Even I am not my body, the actions will become pure and perfect. This is the root of remembering and making a buddhi yoga compared to a sakam karma. This is the difference. We have to remember ourselves very clearly. Does it mean, the question will arise, does it mean that we are not supposed to enjoy? Are we supposed to be just thinking, oh, I am an Atma and I am not supposed to do anything? No, enjoy it. Just like in that movie shooting scene, the king will be enjoying. If there is an excellent fruit put in front of him, he will be eating that fruit. He will be wearing all those ornaments. He will be wearing all those dresses. He will be enjoying. He will be enjoying a beautiful dance by the dancers in front of him. He will do everything. But in his mind, he is very clear that I am not a king. This is exactly what is supposed to be done when we are living in our life also. When we are living our life, we are given a role. We are given a role of a son. We are given a role of a father, of a husband, of a mother, of a daughter, of a wife. All the roles. These are the roles which we will be doing as best as we can. But we can do it as best only when we know that who I am first. And to do that, buddhi yoga is the method. So from our intellect, we have to understand it very clearly, what is my role, who am I, and then connect with that action. Do not connect with the fruit. That is what the... So that is why God is telling us here as Krupana Phala Hetava. Krupana Phala Hetava. Karma done with the fruit in mind is always a lower quality. And person who is seeking the fruit is also like a beggar. There is a story. There is a story of the king Akbar. There was a guy, there was a beggar who wanted some money. So he went to Akbar's court, the court of the king, King Akbar. So while he was going, he was stopped. He was told that no, you can't go now. So he said, why? He is telling no, because the King Akbar is doing the prayer now. He is doing namaz. Namaz ada kar rahe hain. He is doing the prayer. Says, okay, so can I also go and do the prayer? So he says, yeah, you can also go. Everybody can go. Everybody can come to the temple like that. So he goes over there and he is seeing Akbar praying for health, praying for better, the victories over the enemies. He is praying for more money. He is praying for good health of the family. He is praying for so many things. So he started walking away. Now Akbar was informed that this guy is coming, so he knew it. So when he's going away, the beggar is going away. Akbar asked him, "Oh, hold on, you came here to get something from me, to get some help from me. Why are you going away? You are a beggar, you wanted something from me." Then the beggar told, "Why should I beg to you when I see that you are also begging to the God, to the Almighty? Why should I beg to a beggar? Why should I beg? Why should I ask for something from you when you are also seeking something from somebody? Why will not I beg right from the God himself? Why will I beg to you?" And the beggar went away. So in other words, when we are going with a phala hetava, the intention of getting the fruit, intention of getting something out, when we do our actions with a phala hetava, it is considered as a krupana. And so what happens that when we, there is also another story of Akbar for the same thing on another way. But we have got little less time, we may take it next time. But so basically with fruit seeking actions, we will not be able to perform the best, and to do the yoga, we have to understand ourselves clearly that who am I, and then only we can do the best performance. So we can so the conclusion is that to do the karma at the best effort and not keeping the fruit in mind, we should have a yoga, buddhi yoga, intellectually connecting with the actions. We should connect with actions intellectually. So how does it apply in our daily life? Here, when we are in Toronto, when we are all here working as a job or a student, studying. So doing the work, first of all decide the work which you like to do. Do not select a work which you do not like to do, even though it is giving the best fruit and most bigger reward. When we start doing those things for the reward, looking at the fruit, and when we do the action, then those actions will never ever going to give us satisfaction. It will never give us satisfaction. That is number one part. Do the thing which you like to do. Now, what do I like to do? If you ask a kid, what will you like to be? They will say, I don't know. And that is true. They do not know. What you will like to be is not known. So how do I decide? That is called as a natural inclination. How naturally I am made. So the whole thing of Chaturvarna Maya Srishtam and all that, the Varna Vyavastha and all this is going to come. But basically, what I am born for, why I am born in this family, what is my natural inclination, what is my natural way, the reason why I am born is the method to understand who I am and then do the action as per that. If, for example, if my child is very brave, is trying to do something really, with valor, I should not tell the child to become a computer science engineer and sit in a cubicle and do the programming. It will never work. Even though the child is going to be getting the maximum amount of money and getting a great career because he has got a valor, but he will not be happy because he is naturally not doing it. We have got the animal rules here, right? That if there is a parrot who is firing a gun, now naturally a bird is supposed to fly away the moment they listen a gun, but the parrot is trained in a circus so that the parrot fires a gun. Or a monkey is riding a bike. And why we tell that to stop it? Because that monkey or that parrot is naturally not happy. A parrot is happy flying in the sky and sitting on the branches and eating fruits. A parrot is not happy firing the gun. And same way, a monkey is not happy running the bike. A monkey is happy jumping from branch to branch. So when it is even for animal, for us also, we have to remember that what is my natural inclination, what is my natural way, I put my intellect into it, and then we will like to do it even though there is nobody telling us, and we will be putting our best effort into it. All the sports people who become successful are not because they wanted to earn something or they wanted to go, but they were interested in the sports. This is what we see here also. So today it is already 11 o'clock now. We will have a little bit of this 49th shloka next week, and then we will go to the 50th shloka. We will start with the 50th shloka. So till then, I wish everybody having a great weekend, and enjoy your weekend. It's a beautiful weather. It's going to rain a bit, so be careful about that also. And we will meet again next Saturday again at the same time, 10 to 11 at this Jai Durga temple. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Para Brahma Tasmai Sri Guruve Namah.